Welcome back to the fourth episode of the Iconic Confessions Show, the show where we bring in a local icon each episode to learn more about their lives, careers, and experiences. Today on the show, we have Sameer, who has over 300,000 followers on all social media platforms. Thank you so much for coming onto the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for me to come on. I'm very grateful, and it's nice to see that shows like this are kicking off at the grassroots level. Awesome.
Thank you. Why don't you give us a little bit of an introduction about yourself?
Right, an introduction about myself. This is always fairly fun to explain. So I'm a full-time student. I'm studying at the University of Western Australia. I'm studying political science. So besides being a full-time student, I'm also a content creator. I make videos. I've been creating videos for the last 4 years, social awareness, entertainment, so on. So just very fun, high retention content that we all love to see nowadays. And I'm also an agency owner. I feel like I've kind of like transferred my social media skills to actually serve and help other businesses and influencers grow as well. So yeah, that's, I guess, 3 of the things I spend most of my time doing.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. So what kicked off your social media content creator journey?
I think to get started down a risky or a path that would require a lot of effort, you need purpose. What gave me purpose back in 2020 was social awareness. I always felt that despite being 16, 17 years old when I started, we all have a voice, and perhaps like we all want to essentially expand that voice out onto as many people. And sometimes we do it through blogs, sometimes we do it through posts, statics, designs. There's countless ways of doing it. We pressure individuals or platforms that are bigger than ourselves to actually create that voice for us. I think for me, it was this matter that, hey, why don't I do it myself? Creating a video might seem a bit risky, the sense that, hey, it's all that. It feels very vulnerable almost, especially when you're starting out. But I took the leap of faith, and I'm glad that it's been working out since the very beginning. I don't think I had like a massive uphill battle or time where viewership or engagement was low. I feel like it was thankfully fairly smooth from the get-go. So yeah, I think what got me started was talking about issues back in Bangladesh that I felt after moving abroad I had a different perspective on. It allowed me to check my privilege. It allowed me to share this level of insight that maybe I wouldn't have had when I was back there. So it was about educating people regarding stigmas and taboos and hopefully helping them think of these things from a different perspective.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm sure in the 4 years that you've started your content creating journey and uncovering taboos and different issues, I'm sure you've had a lot of crazy experiences. So what do you think has been the craziest experience that you've witnessed behind the scenes?
So I think the videos I enjoy shooting the most are the craziest ones. So it's when I'm usually going to a spot where we'll possibly discuss a social issue that is somewhat, like I said, which is a taboo or it's just extreme. The video which I've enjoyed and has been the craziest making was this video I did on shipbreaking a few years back. So I actually went to the shipyard and it was closed. So shipyard's essentially just a bit of context for the viewers. I think the most dangerous profession in the world is working at a shipyard. You're in this graveyard of ships. It's usually, so all the ships around the world are sent to either China, Bangladesh, or Vietnam, where they break down these ships for the small parts that actually come out of it. So when ships go out of use and order, it's great to send it to these places, and they're happy to pull out millions of junk from it, and it actually pays off fairly well. So when you're looking at these sites, breaking down a ship, it's not feasible for any country over in the West. So countries like Bangladesh do it using child labor. They avoid all kinds of workers' rights and compensation and so on. So it's fairly off the grid. It's fairly undetected as well. So my whole goal with going to the shipyard was actually trying to showcase what happens inside of one. After going there, of course, it was essentially blocked off by guard towers. They had guns. It was fairly like you can't be trespassing in the area. At the same time, we're all aware of what actually happens inside, but the media, the journalists, no one is able to speak up because they'll be shot dead, if not worse. It is a fairly intense situation, but I kind of took a risk there. I essentially sneaked out through the back it's not totally illegal. Like I didn't enter the compound. I was on the sides.
Yeah.
There was like this massive sandy, quicksandy-ish area, and we went through that. And my crew kind of stopped. They're like, "Yeah, no, we're not gonna go beyond this point. It's too dangerous." Because as you're walking through the quicksandish area, there's metal or there's pieces of like steel sticking out from the bottom. So like my legs were almost knee deep in mud, I guess,
Yeah.
with pieces of steel sticking out. But we just took the leap of faith. And yeah, after getting there, we got to the shipyard, and that's when a lot of the workers there told me that, hey, if you're a journalist trying to get this, trust me, they're gonna shoot you. You might want to get out of here. And yeah, I think that's been the most memorable or the craziest video to
Yeah.
date.
Gosh, that sounds really intense. Oh my gosh. Well, now I just want to move on to a bit more of a serious topic. We both know about what the conflict that is happening in Bangladesh, especially concerning Bangladeshi students. And I've also seen how you've used your platform to raise awareness about the situation. So, how do you think, as Bangladeshi Australian students here, we can raise awareness and help the students in Bangladesh?
So I think tying back to why I even started making videos in the first place, it's pretty much that. Like when things like this happened, it got me to be grateful for the platform I have, that I'm not having to pressurize anyone else. I have a platform where I can actually express or represent the students in a way that I feel is feasible. So from the very get-go, I was fully involved. So the movement started in the beginning of July. I went on the 15th of July after Abu Said, one of the faces of the movement, almost like the George Floyd of the student movement, was shot dead in cold blood by the police. It was something that I think, while the government can censor journalists, cartoonists, TV channels, radios, it's very difficult to censor a viral video on social media. I feel like social media has kind of changed the journalistic landscape on social media as a whole, and it's just like you can't, unless you shut down the internet, it's impossible to stop these videos from spreading. And it only led to more students uniting and getting onto the streets. What ended up happening, like 10 days later, when things really picked up momentum wise, they shut off the internet. I think that experience is worth talking about. It was a very, almost like, it felt like psychological torture. I couldn't get any work done. I couldn't contact my family in Perth. When you have Wi-Fi cut off, it's like you're pretty much held hostage by the state. So you could imagine morale and student morale was as low as ever. But as soon as the internet came back on after 10 days, it led to even bigger protests. And eventually, yes, of course, I think the students have come out victorious. I think the student movement is complete for now. We had one demand. Sheikh Hasina had to resign. The 15 years of this dictatorship has ended. Is the fight over? No, because I feel like Bangladesh is a country where political revenge and vindictiveness has led the country to a lot of failures in the past. It will inevitably continue, but it's important that students set this level of accountability that will essentially ensure that they don't go off as far off track in terms of morality and humanity in the future.
Yeah, I agree. And it was really refreshing to see you like being here in Australia and then also using your platform to raise awareness on these issues. And I think it's also rewarding because you've also seen a drastic growth in your social media followers. So I have to ask, what would you say is the biggest hack for social media growth?
The biggest hack for social media growth would be, so there's this term that people don't really understand, and it's difficult for them to understand unless they're already experiencing the boost of it or they're able to observe it, right? It's called high retention. It's about valuing your viewers' time. Right now, when I open my TikTok feed, YouTube feed, you're looking at shorts and TikToks that really capitalize on our short attention span. So it's about respecting your viewers' time from the very first second. You'll see a lot of content that will feel annoying because it's just the music. The content will feel very similar because those are all high retention content, and those are bound to get significantly more viewership. It's about getting the edits down to a level where it doesn't stop. Like, it'll keep clicking in your brain. It's about using the right colors. It's about using the right subtitles, the right fonts. If you click that, then you're good to go. It's about understanding which platform prefers. For example, TikTok right now prefers 45 seconds. Facebook wants 3 minutes of square videos, not and then of course you have YouTube, which prefers more than 12 minutes. So it's just about understanding each of the platforms, and I guess experience also speaks for itself. So
Yeah.
that will definitely help a creator grow in
Yeah.
the creator economy.
Yeah, no, that's some great advice. And throughout your content creator journey, I'm sure you faced some hardships, some struggles. Would you mind sharing some with us that you think you faced?
Mm, I think so it's something that I struggle with, but I also absolutely love it at the same time. I think being known. A part of me likes, or I'm very grateful for the fact that, hey, I have this massive network of people, from CEOs at the top level, international journalists, businessmen, just influencers across. I get to have access to everyone. So say I've come to Perth after a few years, or I mean, if I was visiting in between, but because of my following, that just means I can access people a lot easier, and it's like they are bound to trust me a lot quicker because it's like they already know me. It's not me presenting my stuff for the first time. But in terms of like being a public figure, I think it has a lot of its cons. I think you're bound to be judged a lot more. I think you're bound to be talked about a lot more, and while it can be amazing things 80-90% of the time, 10-20% of the time they are not so amazing things. And I think it can be very difficult on your mental health. It can be very difficult on you if you don't have a thick skin.
Yeah.
So it's about kind of like growing, maturing, and understanding that you have to love yourself ahead of anyone else, and that will allow you to be a lot more content with your social media journey.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Well, I would like to move on to the last part of the show, which is called Confess a Secret. So, this box holds questions, and you just basically have to answer it truthfully.
Every question? Oh, it's just one
Yeah.
question. Interesting. Damn, I'm scared. Have you ever felt like you had to sell your soul during your content creation journey? Damn, this question feels very personalized. Yeah, I 100% agree. I think I've always been very strategic with my content too. I think for the first 1.5 years, 2 years, there was this phase in terms of social awareness which kicked off through BLM, Me Too, and it was something that I felt strongly towards. But I feel like after doing social awareness for 2 years, I kind of had a burnout that, hey, the kind of audience that you build doing social awareness is very intense. It becomes this matter of whataboutism. Say if you're talking about this social issue in Sudan, why aren't you talking about what's happening in Israel? Or if you're talking about Israel, why aren't you talking about what's happening in Congo? So it's this intense feeling of like pressure, and you won't enjoy making videos then. It'll feel depressing. It'll feel like you're covering very negative but important content that you should cover, but at the same time it's something that someone of my age can get burnt out by, especially if it's not paying your bills. So that was tough, hence I switched to entertainment. I've been doing entertainment for the last 1.5, 2 years. I make higher attention, like fun street interviews.
Yeah.
But it also allows me to jump into social awareness when I want to. Like it didn't stop me from going out to the protests, educating people about what's happening. I'm putting out a video on ship breaking in tomorrow, hopefully. So that doesn't mean that you can't step back. It just means that you're switching genres in general that will hopefully take the pressure off you. So yes, did I sell my soul? Yeah, maybe I did, but do I regret it? No, I don't.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for answering that truthfully, and it was great having you here today. Thank you so much for being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Cool.
Cool. See you guys.